Hello there. I have a bit of a vulnerable share today. My name is Alina. I'm a recovery and transformation coach, and I make videos talking about my recovery journey through addiction, burnout, and self loss. And what I want to talk today about is what is useful from our pain. And I came across something that basically said, the thing that hurts you the most becomes the thing that you can use to heal the world. And when I saw that, it made me think, what is the thing that hurt me the most? And most of my videos revolve around surviving modern life, recovering from addiction or burnout, or just how to get unstuck. And so when I was thinking about what hurt me the most, there's all kinds of things I could grab from. And I bet that if you're asking yourself that same question as I talk about this, you could too. My first thought was addiction. Then I didn't think that was it. Or burnout, or all the myriad other ways that I got myself stuck. But when I landed on betraying myself, all of that betrayal and abandoning of myself to belong, for safety, just being in that survival mode and consistently betraying myself is what hurt me the most. I did that to me. I did it to myself for decades. And it was incredibly challenging to unravel. It's hard to unravel because so many ways that we betray ourselves are celebrated in our modern culture, in our society. The selfless mother, the worker who never says no, the friend who is always there when you need them. When I set up my recovery journey, I followed an authentic code for myself, which was 4 words that I filtered every decision through. So every time I made a decision, it needed to honor all 4 of these words, or else I wouldn't choose it. When I work with people, I always offer this because what it does is it orients our choices to our values. And our choices, and we make several of them every day, our choices lead to our reality. And if our choices don't match our values, we can end up in a reality that doesn't look anything like our own or what we would wish for. And that is exactly what happened to me. When I hit rock bottom, I knew that I was wildly off of where I wanted to be in life. And this work doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual and it's step by step, exactly the way you got yourself off course. But the 4 words I chose for myself were self-care, connection, expansion, and impact. And the impact part of it, I didn't know how that was going to come about, but I knew I wanted that. The thing that is alive in me is connecting with other people and having an impact. And that's scary to admit out loud when your life is full of dysfunction and you don't know the way out. All you know is that you keep getting stuck. Like that was me. I just kept on being stuck in the same way, but knowing in my heart that I had something more to give. But as I got healthier and as I healed myself and as I started to really see my life unfold in a way that reflected all 4 of those words, I started to see how I could have impact, how I could have traction in other people's lives, even if not directly. But as I learned how to create a sense of self from practically nothing, as I built up my self-worth, my confidence, as I leaned into self-love and self-care and self-forgiveness, it became even more painful to witness what I was up to all those years. And I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. That is why I started doing these videos, partly because I want to get out of consumption and into creativity. And so doing this stimulates my mind. It makes me feel like I'm having an impact. And it's truly what I care about more than almost anything, is how we get so disconnected from ourselves. It doesn't honor us and it doesn't honor each other. When I work with women, I notice that it's so hard for them to say out loud what they want. And I think part of it is because they're afraid that what they want, everybody else wants. And that's not true. Everybody wants something different. There's enough to go around for all of us. And there's a misconception that we need to be putting all of our attention onto other people, that makes us good people. But we can be whole. We cannot betray ourselves and still be useful to the world and to other people. Right now, as you're listening to this, is there anywhere that you're betraying yourself? That you're not honoring your wants and needs? That you're not honoring your values? Oftentimes, that's a very first step in recovery or in any avenue to get unstuck, is to look at where you're living outside of your own values. If you don't know your values, make a list. Look at that list and then, is that truly your values, or are those values you've picked up from family and religion and culture and friends? What I know for sure is that our inherent wants and needs are usually not evil. They're not selfish. They're just covered by layers of trauma and wounding and conditioning. And the more that we heal ourselves, this is where the emotional level really comes in. We start to feel our feelings. We clear space in our bodies. We come home to ourselves. This is becoming whole. And this makes us incredibly powerful to ourselves and other people. What is in your heart right now that you're not expressing? If you could spend a day doing whatever you wanted, what would it be? If money was no option, what would you spend your time doing? What did you let go a long time ago that you secretly crave back in your life? This is how you get back to yourself. This is how you build confidence and self-worth, is honoring your wants and needs and not compromising. When I said the thing that hurt you the most could be the thing that you use to heal the world, what sparked in you? You can love and be devoted to your family and still want more for yourself than what your daily life demands. I would offer you this, and that is pick 4 words for yourself. Pick 4 words that you can filter your decisions through and start to orient your life towards those words. And as you do that, notice where resistance comes up. That can point to where you're abandoning yourself. That played such an enormous role in what it took for me to get sober. I knew that my drinking was out of control and I desperately wanted to be sober. Every time I fell off the wagon or relapsed, it was because I was scared of not belonging, of what it would mean if I lost people in my life. The road to sobriety is very complicated. It wasn't just that, but it was largely that. And as I work with other people, our environments and the people in our lives oftentimes get in our way of change. And it's not intentional. They don't mean to, and we don't mean to. We will choose belonging over our own authenticity because that is how we have survived. It's in our cells. It's in our ancestry. It's who we are. We need other people for survival. But most of our physical safety is taken care of these days. And so how that shifts now is into psychological safety. And we fear being excluded from a group. And so oftentimes when you're looking at self-betrayal, where are you choosing belonging over your own truth? I would ask yourself, what would you change if you put yourself first? None of this changes overnight. It's slow and subtle. But as you make these slow and subtle changes, your nervous system will start to recognize a new way of being. My self-betrayal was very connected to a trauma response called fawning. It's like people pleasing, but it's more than that. It's people pleasing for safety. I'm not okay if everyone else isn't okay. I will put my needs aside to make sure everybody else is okay, and that will make me okay. And I have to stay very mindful of what I'm up to because I can find myself fawning and not even realize it. Fawning is one of the newer recognized trauma responses. There's fight or flight, and then they added freeze. And fawning is relatively new. I think it's like 1970s or 80s. But I found in my coaching, and as I've talked about it just with friends and family, most people aren't clued into this. It's sort of a newer way of understanding how we get in our own way. So I would urge you, if you're a people pleaser or you find yourself constantly wondering if people are mad at you or sending multiple texts in a row trying to explain yourself, worrying what the other person is thinking, look into fawning, and that could easily explain how you got off track as well. Thank you for letting me share. And I don't know what my impact is. I think it's a little much to say this is how I'm healing the world, but I think we all have more impact in ways that we don't notice. I was talking about how I want to have impact with my childhood friend. I've known her since I was 10, and she is one of those people that has impact all over the place. I know she does. She has a huge heart, and she loves people in a way that I know that they feel on a very deep level. And I don't know if she truly knows how much impact she truly has in the world. So that's another thing I would say is we don't always know. Anyway, I don't have a real clever way to end this video other than to say, if you identify with any part of my story, it is never too late to start shifting and orienting yourself. And I promise, in small and little ways and then larger ways, you'll start to see your life change. Thanks for being here.